Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Heavy Hitters. I am your host, as always, Joe Lakhman. Today, we're going to be talking about UFC 270 this Saturday, and I am once again joined by my good friend, Brady O'Malley. How you doing today, Brady?
Hey, Joe. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on again. I'm ready to talk about these fights. I'm excited to see them. It's going to be a great night of action.
Absolutely. UFC 270 has some pretty good fights going on. We obviously have the flyweight title fight and the heavyweight championship fight. I'm looking forward to that heavyweight fight. But all of these fights are going to be amazing. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with a fight on the main card. Cody Stamann versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. Obviously, that last name probably sounds familiar to most of you guys. It is Khabib's cousin. But with that being said, Saeed is really nothing like Khabib at all. He's not much of a grappler. That's actually probably one of the flaws to his game. A lot of people use that against him. But he's much more of a flashy striker. So this matchup should be interesting against Cody Stamann because obviously we know Cody is an amazing wrestler, even though he hasn't shown it too much in his last couple of fights. But, with that being said, what do you think both of these guys are going to have to do to get the win?
Cody Stamann, like you said before, has not had a great run his last couple of fights. He's only won 2 of his last 5. That is not great, to say the least. So, and like you said, he's also a great wrestler. So his goal needs to keep Saeed on the ground. He needs to do whatever he can to keep him on the ground. Because, Saeed sees us. He's a flashy striker. He's going to try and go for the knockout. And you can use that against him. You can use that kind of his flashiness against him. Like you said before, multiple guys have already taken advantage of that. But for Saeed, he needs to keep it up top. He should know his strengths and weaknesses. He's not his cousin. He's not this legendary grappler. He needs to keep it up top. He needs to put it away quick. So basically his weakness is also his strength. He needs to his need to try and end the fight quickly is what's his best chance of winning the fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think Cody Stamann, he has no choice but to get Saeed on the ground, and that is definitely his recipe for success. It's really going to be whether or not he can get in there without getting too much damage and being able to take Saeed down, because I really don't think he's going to have any problem keeping him on the ground once they're down there. It's just a matter of whether or not Saeed can land one of those flashy strikes or a nice punch on the chin and put him out for the night before they get to the ground. So it should definitely be an interesting fight. Both of these guys, haven't been doing too hot lately. Obviously, Saeed coming off of a win, Cody not so much, but it should be interesting nonetheless. So with that being said, who do you think is actually going to get their hand raised at the end of this one?
So this is going to be close. This is not going to be neither one of these guys is going to dominate the other. I feel like they're both at each other level wise in terms of experience and in terms of skill. But as long as Saeed keeps away from Stamann when he's trying to take him down, stays up, does great takedown defense, I feel like he's gonna take the win, because you can talk about his skill all you want, but look who's in his corner. He's got a great corner. And I feel like those guys are going to give him the best advice he can, especially for a big fight like this for him. I say Nurmagomedov is going to take the win.
Yeah, I think me and you are kind of on the same page here, Brady. I think Saeed is going to get the dub here, probably by knockout, TKO, one or the other. It doesn't speak. It's not good for Cody Stamann when he's a wrestler, and in his last 2 fights, which have both been losses, he has been out wrestled and outstruck in both of those fights. So definitely not a good look for him. So for those reasons, I'm going to say so he's going to get the dub. Maybe a second round TKO. I think that's what I'll go with. So we'll see what happens on Saturday night. But moving on to why we're really here, let's get into the title fights, shall we? So the
Yes.
first one of the night, the co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Deiveson Figueiredo for their third and possibly final fight. The first two were absolutely incredible. The first one was an all-out war that ended in a draw. Second one, it seemed like Brandon Moreno kind of figured him out. You know, he withered him away with that jab, and then was able to take him down and choke him out to become Mexico's first ever UFC champion. So shout out Brandon Moreno for that. They wanted Moreno to fight Alexander Pantoja, but Pantoja wasn't ready by the end of the year, so they figured, why not? Let's just do a trilogy with Figueiredo. So I'm down for it. Figueiredo is going into this with a lot of confidence. It feels like he's learned a lot from the last fight. He says he's going to end him quickly. He's not going to let the jab get to him. And he's probably going to go back to his fast-paced offense that served him well in that first fight. So with that being said, what do you think Moreno and Deus de Guerra, which is a pretty cool nickname, might I add, what do you think they have to do to get the dub?
First, I just want to express how much I love Brandon Moreno, the assassin baby. That guy is fantastic. The only guy that will knock you out cold and then right after the fight complete a big set of Legos. He's just such a cool guy and he's a nice dude and he is good. He is good at what he does. And so is Figueiredo. Figueiredo is a scary guy. He scares me. I would never want to be in a room just with Deiveson Figueiredo. He is scary as hell. But yeah, for this trilogy fight, it's really everything's gonna be on the table. Moreno has a lot to lose. Figueiredo is hungry again. He wants that belt back. So for me, for Figueiredo, what he needs to do to win is basically take more shots. Try to strike more because I believe it was his last fight with Moreno. He threw less strikes total than Moreno made. So that's kind of abysmal. He should kind of keep going at him a little more. And yeah, I know he's trying to be more precise with his strikes. He's trying to get as much significant strikes as he can, but he just needs to kind of go at him more. He needs to, like I said, be the scary guy I'm talking about. He needs to go in with one thing on his mind, and that is to destroy. Now, for Brandon Moreno, he basically needs to watch out for that. He needs to watch out for how much Figueiredo wants, because that was his belt, that was his baby. He wants it back. So it's a different circumstance than the last fight. Now he is where Figueiredo was. He's on the defense. He's trying to keep everything he has. So basically, he just got to watch out for Figueiredo. He's going to have some really weird moves up his sleeve. He's going to go no matter what. And so basically, Moreno just has to keep doing what he's been doing. He is a great fighter. I love this guy. He needs to keep doing what he's doing while also watching out for some insane stuff that Deiveson is going to throw out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I think Moreno just kind of has to keep doing what he's been doing, keep doing what he did in that second fight because obviously we know it served him well. With that being said, it's definitely easier said than done. I don't think Figueiredo is gonna really let him do the exact same thing. He's definitely gonna be extremely aggressive, especially considering how we know Moreno doesn't do very well with fighters that are aggressive. We saw him have obviously some trouble with Figueiredo in the first fight. And then he had trouble against Alexander Pantoja, who again is a very aggressive fighter. So that's definitely what Figueiredo has to do. He has to stay aggressive and just have that constant pressure. But, Moreno needs to be smart, needs to get out of the way, maybe run around a little bit, make him waste some energy, and then shoot for that takedown again because we know that he has that edge on the ground. So it's going to be a really, really interesting fight. I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be watching. Not going to take my eyes off the screen. I'm probably not going to blink at all. Probably going to need some hydration afterwards. But who do you think will ultimately get their hand raised at the end of this one?
This is tough. This is a tough one for me because, like I expressed earlier, I love Brandon Moreno. He's a great fighter, and he just seems like a great dude. But I gotta go with Deiveson Figueiredo. He is on the hunt, and I don't know even if Brandon Moreno can stop that. He is going to really giving it everything he has. He's not going to waste opportunities like he did his last fight with Moreno. He has learned a lot. He is going to come into this with a new sight on it. He's going to come into it with almost, I would like to say, clarity. I would like to say that he knows what to expect now. So, yeah, I say Deiveson Figueiredo. I don't say knockout or TKO. I say goes all the way, but with his hand being raised.
I agree with you there on one thing. I think this fight is going to go the distance. I think it's going to be an all-out war, just like the first one. However, I think that Brandon Moreno, the assassin baby, is going to pull it out with the dub. I just think it's his time now. I love Figueiredo. He's super entertaining to watch, but I think it's just Brandon's time now. I think he's the future of the division, at least for the foreseeable future. So I think he's going to win. I think he's going to retain the title, and he might be the champ for a little while. I think that's my opinion. I don't know how, like I said, it should be an interesting fight. It's going to be a war, but definitely a war of attrition. And it's honestly a toss up, but I'm going with my gut, and my gut says Moreno. So moving on to the main event, one of my absolute favorite fighters to watch. We have the heavyweight championship, Ciryl Gane versus Francis Ngannou. This is the tale of power, raw, unadulterated power versus just pure finesse. Ciryl Gane is completely unlike any other fighter we have seen in the heavyweight division. I mean, it doesn't even come close. He's not trying to knock you out. He's not trying to finish the fight, which has been some criticism for him on that side. People say he's not entertaining to watch, but I disagree. I mean, he picks you apart, and I mean, you saw what he did to Alexander Volkov. I mean, that was an amazing fight. Francis Ngannou is probably one of the scariest people on the planet. I mean, the guy can probably flex, a vein will pop out and knock me out. I mean, that's how strong he is. I mean, it's actually insane. So I mean, even though this is for the heavyweight title, the unification bout, we know Ngannou doesn't really want to re-sign with the UFC, so definitely some controversy there. But John is definitely gonna extend the fight in any way that he can. He's definitely gonna be running around the ring that whole time. So it'll be interesting to see if Ngannou can kind of cut off the octagon and track him down and land one of those punches. But what do you think Don and Ngannou have to do to get the win in this one?
I cannot tell you how excited I am for this fight. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this fight. These two powerhouses coming together for this fight. I'm like, can someone pinch me? Is this really happening? Gane is, like you said, he's nothing like we've ever seen before, really, in this weight class. He is a beast of his own. And then you got one of my favorite fighters ever, the Predator, Francis Ngannou, who has the greatest hit power I've ever seen anywhere. Like the first time I saw a clip of one of his punches, I was on the treadmill. And when I saw the raw power he had, I almost fell off. I was like, what is this dude doing? He is just fun to watch. And then some people say Gane's not fun to watch. Like you said, I disagree. I think he is very tactical. I feel like he has his own game plan. He doesn't really care what all the experts or analysts or whatever say about his strategy. So for Gane to win this fight, he needs to stay away from Francis's strikes. He needs to just stay away from them, try and get him on the ground as much as possible, because you're not gonna outstrike Francis Ngannou. Ciryl Gane is a strong guy, obviously. We've seen it. But Francis Ngannou is probably one of the strongest people that's ever graced the UFC. So he can't risk falling into his punches. He needs to take him to the ground. Now, for Ngannou, he needs to showcase that knockout power he is so known for. He needs to just try his very best to decimate Ciryl Gane. He needs to he has a lot to lose now. He's at the top of the food chain. And when you're at the top of the food chain, everyone's trying to come at you. So there's a lot of eyes on him. So he needs to make a statement. He needs to just keep hitting and hitting and hitting. He needs to watch out for takedowns. He needs to just keep going at Ciryl Gane. He needs to run this fight. He needs to show the world that this is his octagon and Cyryl's just paying a visit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, Ngannou, he definitely has to cut off the octagon a little bit. He can't let Gane just run circles around him. He has to watch out for the takedowns, but we have seen that his takedown defense has improved a lot. We saw it in that fight against Stipe Miocic. That fight didn't last very long. I will admit to that. But I mean, if you can just throw Stipe Miocic off of you, I mean, I don't know who's gonna take this guy down. I mean, it's actually insane. But if it's gonna be anyone, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ciryl Gane. He surprises me in every fight. He whips out a new trick and just shows the world that, I'm that guy. I'm gonna be the face of this division. Now, regardless of what happens in this fight, I personally feel that Gane will be the heavyweight champion at some point, whether it's because Francis Ngannou leaves the UFC or if, he does beat Ngannou. And also, Dana White, I'm looking at you. If you're watching, probably not, but if you are, sign Francis Ngannou, pay him whatever he wants. He'll make a lot of money, I promise. We don't want to lose this man. I love him, please. But anyway, moving on. Like, what's your prediction for this fight? Is Ciryl Gane gonna be the new face of the division, or is Ngannou gonna win this fight, show the world that he is the scariest man on the planet, and then just be like, deuces, I'm out? Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
I say that Ciryl Gane will be the face of this division, but not yet. Not now. Now is Francis's time. Ciryl will have his time. He is doing great. Even if he loses this fight, he lost to Francis Ngannou. There's nothing wrong with that. He is a generational talent. I say Francis goes for a knockout, maybe like third, fourth round, and just puts him to sleep. Nothing against Gane, nothing against his style. It's just that Ngannou is just one of a kind. like you said, he's the scariest man on the planet. He earned that name. There is a reason, because he's put the other scariest dudes I've ever seen to sleep like that. I mean, I don't even want to talk about how many insane knockouts he's had against better fighters than Ciryl Gane. So I say Ngannou takes it, but Gane has a bright future, just not right now.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. He doesn't have that many fights under his belt, even though he was really good in the kickboxing scene. I just think it's too soon for Ngannou to lose his title. So I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go second round knockout for Francis Ngannou. I think the longer this fight goes on, it will be worse for him. Obviously, he's definitely gonna empty his gas tank, and it's just gonna go downhill. So if he wants to win, he's gotta get him out of there as soon as possible. Before we get going, we have one more thing to talk about, Brady. What is your fight of the night? Obviously, it's the first pay-per-view event of 2022. Hopefully, this year's going to be a good one. We got 2 championship fights. What more can we ask for? But, is your fight of the night one of those 2 championship fights? Or is it one that we maybe haven't even talked about yet?
Fight of the night, Ngannou Gane, without question. That fight is going to be stellar. Yes, even though it's the first pay-per-view event of the year, I would not be surprised if this fight between Francis and Ciryl will be a fight of the year candidate when it comes to next December. This is going to have fireworks. They're going to put on a show. No matter who wins, both these guys are going to put on a show. I'm very excited about this fight. I've been very excited about this fight. It's going to be I love the Moreno Figueiredo matchup. They're going to do great. They're going to have a great fight too. But I mean, it's Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane. You can't really, I don't see too much going against them for a better fight.
Yeah, I mean, Figueiredo and Moreno, they have the storyline, but when I tell you, I got goosebumps when we just started talking about Don and Ngannou. I mean, I literally got goosebumps. I am stoked for this fight. I cannot wait. I mean, my eyes are gonna be peeled. I'm not gonna blink. Heart's gonna be pounding. My heart's already pounding for this fight. It's gonna be absolutely insane. If you said any other fight other than Ngannou and John, I might have to fight you. I don't know, but we'll see. So that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Mr. Brady O'Malley, for joining me once again today. But with that being said, until next time, everyone, stay safe.